morning from Dr. Barry, Love News, Melbourne. As people may be aware, that on Channel 7 News, they did show what they called a protest on Anzac Day down in the South Gippsland area. Well, it wasn't a protest, it was a celebration of Anzac, because Anzac Day was cancelled due to circumstances beyond the people's control, because the people allowed it to happen. They did have control, but they gave it up. But a small number of people, around 100 plus, minus, decided they would celebrate Anzac Day, and rightly so, because it was a lawful celebration. It was not a protest. It may have some people protesting in relation to loss of freedom, which they're quite entitled to do. And sadly, the nation is divided thanks to this idiotic system, which we have, corporations running the place. Now, our premiers and prime ministers are not as they are. They're corporations. And sadly, they're not in charge. They're only puppets of the puppet masters, which is now being deemed as the deep state. The people who have the money, who put them in there. So in order to get elected, it takes a lot of money. So someone with lots of money pays a lot of money to get somebody elected. Lucky enough, we've got a Liberal government, because if we had a Labour government, we would be in a bigger mess than we really are. Daniel Andrews in Victoria, Labour, he's done a wonderful job on roads and stuff, and it's really sad that we have to see the real side of him, which is he's steeped in the deep state. He's totally owned. But he's done wonderful work, so he will get elected again more than likely, and that's our fault. Anyway, going back to the Anzac Day and the celebrations for that, the police came, about 7 or 8 vehicles, perhaps less. They were extremely professional, courteous. They carried out their duties in an excellent performance. They there to keep the peace. They were not there to enforce anything. They didn't interfere with people's rights, and they were very polite, and they were very welcomed by the crowd. The Anzac Parade proceeded without any incident, apart from some idiots, ill-informed, sadly, shouted abuse at people for celebrating their rights. Anyway, let's have a look at it and see what you think. And thanks for watching.
Outraged that we would choose this day. It is actually the best day. Absolutely. Not only do we gather in their memory and in their honour, but we now gather in protest against the lockdown which has been forced upon us by our own government. Remember that our Anzacs have fought in many wars in many places, but always against the same enemy. It's true. In every war, they have fought against governments which deny freedom for their own people. That has been our enemy since the beginning. From the Ottoman Empire and Kaiser Wilhelm Germany in World War I, to the Nazi regime in Imperial Japan in World War II, the communist takeovers of Korea and Vietnam, the dictatorship of Saddam Hussein in Iraq, or the totalitarian Taliban regime in Afghanistan and many other conflicts in between, our diggers have fought and died on almost every continent to protect a precious and fragile idea. The idea that the government is there to serve the people and not to rule them. For all of our imperfections, and we do have many, Australia is still a shining example of what people can achieve when they are comparatively free, when their government serves the people's interests as the people pursue their dreams and ambitions, and people rightly flock from all over the world to be a part of this wonderful country. Of the suffering that is created when people are made to serve the dreams and ambitions of their government. Our Anzacs fought against governments who took control over their people, and yet today we see echoes of history repeating right here at home, as we are bullied and threatened, berated and cajoled into living lives of fear and withdrawing into our homes. Stripped of our incomes and our independence, we're expected to beg the government for a handout to save us from being ruined by the rules they made. It's for your own good, we are told. And I don't doubt that they mean well, but the road to hell is truly paved with good intentions. Go out and buy a new microwave, and on the door of the Harvey Norman there was a sign that said, because of the coronavirus, this store is limited to no more than 1,500 people.
Got it.
We could have held this protest there.